Joined by Valerie Musics at Delta Ray.
Thank you.
That I forgot to coach them on clapping. I said you gotta be quiet, except for now.
Seems like they're natural.
Yes, they're full of Texas Roadhouse. That's what the problem is. All right, we're joined by Ian, Liz, Brittany, and Eric. All right, so we have a couple brothers, a sister, and then Misfit.
Yes.
Okay, so how did you come about?
Well, they grew up all over the South, and then they actually moved out to California because of their dad's job, and that was when I met them in the San Francisco Bay Area.
I see. Nice. And so now, you two went to Duke, and you went to Cal Berkeley.
I did.
Okay, and where did you go?
I went to Fordham Lincoln Center in New York City.
Okay, see, so I do not belong on this stage because I don't have the brain capacity to keep up with you guys. I mean, holy cow. So you go from going to great universities to being a band. This is something you guys have always – was this a passion from the get-go?
It was, and I have to say that after Duke's basketball game last night, Eric and I are in mourning today.
I let it go. I didn't wear my Carolina hat. I just did it. I figured I'd be nice this time.
Very kind of you. But yeah, no, we that was in large part why Eric and I went to school together, was because we knew we wanted to do music.
Okay.
And yeah, it had always been a dream. We've been writing music together since we were 10 and 12 years old, so that was a big.
I think it's also worth saying that we graduated around 2008, 2009, right as it was impossible to get a job. So it became a great option.
Necessary.
Yeah, necessary and a great option to go do something you're really passionate about and love. So.
And then you went home and brought your sister and your friend along.
That's right. We asked if they would join us, and
we kindly obliged.
Because it was around the same time, too? You looking for the job, needed the money?
Yeah, I actually happened to graduate at the same time as my older brother, and that was the only reason I was able to be part of it.
Was that a bit of a dig on her part?
Probably. I just tried to ignore
that seemed like a bit of a dig to me.
That was my way of sort of wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Either he took too long or I was super smart about it.
I also liked when you said, is that why you guys came down? You needed the money. Because in the early days, there was no money.
Later days.
Yeah, still very little money. But we all were working. Britt worked as a farmer in Durham, and Liz was working as a teacher. I was a librarian, which is the lamest thing
wow.
to say.
Secret talent right
super
there.
Super rock and roll.
It was yeah.
Dewey Decibel System. What were you doing then if they were all carrying on jobs?
I was a teaching assistant for an animation class.
Okay, that works.
So it's super weird.
Yeah, just a bit.
It didn't fit as well as these other things.
Yeah. Hey, you're the artsy one. How's that?
Thank you very much.
There. All right. So without creating any kind of rift between you guys, I want to know who's the messy one out of the group.
Hello. Hi. The first step to treating a problem is admitting that you have one.
Okay.
And I am a nester. That's sort of, I'm known for nesting.
All
and,
right.
So, it's, I'm messy. I'm not dirty. I like things to be clean, but I like to have a lot of things around me at all times and just sort of be in a sea of my own
clutter.
We're on a van or on a bus or on an airplane, just looking at the area around Brittany, it's chaos.
Yeah, it's
really
a nightmare.
chaos.
But
None of you are
decent.
clean freaks then, right?
What's
It
that?
doesn't drive one of you nuts to see it.
Again,
All right,
I
it
try
does.
to just ignore these as they come up. But.
No, sometimes they'll say, like, could you get your nest off of me? And then I have to
I
sort
like
of
that.
regather
I'm
some of
stealing
my
that, by the way.
things and put them in other nooks and crannies. Yeah.
All right. So who's the one that's always late?
That would be me. And I'm just going to say that
It's because you're cleaning up the mess.
somewhere I've got a redeeming quality. I'll try and pull it out, but yeah, no, that's me too.
All right. So then who's the one that is the prankster and who gets the stuff pulled over on them mostly?
You know, it's so funny. Our prankster would be our drummer, Mike.
Okay.
We have a drummer and a bass player who are holding down the fort in Raleigh. But the funny thing is that we have pulled some pranks within the band over the years, and the reaction has been so bad that now there are no pranks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There was one time when our manager suggested that we have a prank of pretending that the van had been stolen when everybody was making their way to the venue, and
it was in Manhattan. We were all stressed because it's New York.
Yeah, and we asked the woman who was working at the venue to be like our accomplice in this thing. And when the rest of the band showed up, she delivered the news that the van had been stolen, and everybody was just
despondent.
and
also sort of like, excuse me, ma'am, but like, what are the details of this? And she's like, I don't know. It was just out there and it got stolen. We were like, could have called the cops. Maybe we were like,
It got so angry so fast that from then
was
on,
just like, this is a prank, and I don't know why I'm participating.
we felt
were
really
like,
bad for her, and then everybody decided no more pranks. So
It's the brain power. That's your first thought. You start to think logically. Okay, you start going through your checklist, and then it takes away from the prank.
There are too many eggs in this basket.
Apparently
I mean,
so.
exactly.
With both my brothers in the band, Liz is my best friend forever, and we
take it
care
too
too much.
seriously.
Yeah.
do
So
that.
pranks are always like really high stakes.
So I saw in your bio that you guys all moved into a dilapidated house outside a dorm.
Yeah.
Okay. So who controlled the remote control?
Oh my god.
We didn't have cable.
That's a beautiful thought
Yeah.
that we might have
Great
had.
idea.
We actually kind of all agreed early on that we would just go all the way through TV shows. So like we watched full seasons of 6 Feet Under together. There would be like a viewing,
Time.
Yeah, I
Everyone-
just want to say it's not that we didn't want cable. We desperately wanted cable. We just couldn't afford cable at the time. So
Eric was, I think, the only one who had a Netflix membership or something, and so we all just sat around his laptop and had viewing parties, like meet in the living room at 6 p.m.
Those are actually illegally downloaded videos, but
Oh.
it's the same thing.
Hey, we've all been there. We've all been there.
Things are
Tough
not that
times.
different. I share my Hulu Plus account with several band members now.
There you go.
Thank you, Liz.
And the statute of limitations are up on most of this stuff, I
Right?
hope.
I
I
think
hope.
so.
I guess we'll find out. Anyway, so what's your favorite thing to do when you get into a city?
Find some food. We love to eat.
Yeah, we were talking about that before we brought everybody in. We were talking food and restaurants all over the place.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Pittsburgh's got some
Pittsburgh has
great
great
options.
food.
Oh, yeah.
I also like to go find a vintage shop, and then usually I'll just shop instead of eat, and then just take home my clothes. My suitcases. That's why I'm so messy, guys. I just can't fit it all into the suitcase that I brought.
Pittsburgh is the home of one of the best bakeries in the country, Prantle's.
Oh, yes.
My favorite baked good of all time, the burnt almond tort, is
How do you know this stuff?
because it's my favorite baked good of all time.
Oh, you
It's
have it
so
shipped to
delicious.
you wherever you go?
We wish.
Actually,
Perhaps.
she did have a family member bring her one time. I'll never forget.
She did. She went to a Pirates game and she held on to the tort for the whole game, and then went to see our concert and presented me with the tort. It was very sweet.
Oh.
was
But y'all,
Did it hold
have
up?
to-
That's a good cousin.
Yes, it was amazing.
Okay. All right. I'm not going to argue with you on that one. All right. So we know that you like to go to vintage clothing stores and you're messy, to put it mildly.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
So do any of you collect anything odd or strange? It seems like somebody with all the personalities here, somebody has to have something.
I don't collect anything systematically anymore, but I have a collection of small dragon figurines at my house that I.
The nerdiest
embarrassed
possible
by it.
thing.
Yeah, the librarian has a collection of dragon figurines.
And I just would like to say that I have a lot of librarian pride. So but those figurines I got when I was like 12. And I think the biggest thing is not that I've collected more of them, but that I haven't let them go over the 20 years.
They're sentimental.
Yeah.
There you go. They mean something to you.
We've thought about doing that though. I don't know what we should get. Keychains or what do you?
I started collecting guitar picks because my wife got mad at me for bringing home stuff from all these things.
Those are
Now,
very
that's
small.
something. Yeah, you can hide that.
So last
Yeah.
year, my wife brought home this book called KonMari, like the magic of decluttering. And
Okay.
Hiding it.
we went through our entire house, and if you hold something and it doesn't bring you joy, you let it go.
That's just called marriage. That happened to me.
Yes, exactly. so
I lost everything. Sorry, honey.
so that got rid of a lot of the collections. But
Yes, yes. All right, so why Delta Ray?
Great question. We get that a lot. So Delta Ray is actually the name of a character in a book that our mom has written, and she's been working on this book for 17 years. And so we grew up hearing about this character. She's a girl from the South who awakens the Greek gods and calls them back to Earth to help her father. And we loved the story. And just as my mom was putting the finishing touches on her first draft of the book, and we were trying to come up with a name, she said, guys, I've got it. I've got the lead character's name. It's epic. It's Southern. It's Delta Ray. And we were like, hey, Mom. So here's the thing. We have only come up with possibly the worst band names. I mean, Spoonbait was a serious
Are
contender.
you kidding me?
No. And
Who came up with that?
our resident nerd and librarian
Dragon Keeper.
So we were like, Mom, we're just going to need to borrow Delta Ray for a while. And this whole thing is just a promotion for her book whenever it comes out.
So besides that, were there any other ones in contention?
I think Liz wanted to call it.
We should talk about
No. That's the reason why we're doing
Liz
this.
wanted to call it the cinnamon sticks. So I know spoon bait is bad, but I stand by it when you're fighting cinnamon sticks.
Yeah, I think there was like some backyard. God, they were so.
Kin was one of them because family sort of thing.
Oh, Kin. Okay.
But there's
Backyard
another band
Kin.
called the Kin, so you can't really.
Yeah.
They're either
that,
really
it's-
bad or they're taken.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice diplomatic way of getting out of that question. All right. And finally, I always ask this because it adds a little bit of insight to the music you guys that influence you. The album's done. There's one slot left, but it has to be a cover song. What are you putting?
So it's a great question because we just started doing a cover that we've wanted to do. I've wanted to do this song since we started this band, and we're finally getting around to it. But Seven Bridges Road, which is made famous, I think, by the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we could have one more song on the record, it would be that one because of the harmony, and also it's just paying homage to the South and has kind of a mystical quality. It makes you feel like you're a kid. They mentioned so many times, I've loved you like a child, and I don't know. There's something about a Southern night and that song that are pretty magical to me.
Well, I want to thank the Cinnamon Sticks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Delta Ray.